Jaime Camil, we're late into season three on Jane the Virgin, where you play Rogelio de la Vega, and there have been some big shifts, to say the least, this season. So first off, I have to talk about the death of Jane's husband, Michael. How far in advance did you know that was coming?
I'm just cleaning the camera. Um, we it was actually something very cool because, as you very well know, we love each other very much. The cast is very tight. So when that happened, Jenny Ehrman was kind enough to call us individually to her office, and she laid down the plan and she told us, this is a plan I mean, this is the plan since the beginning of the show. Michael needed to die, basically, but I mean, yeah, Michael needed to die, but Brett brought so much to the table and we love him so much, and it was such a rich character that I tried to delay that event as much as possible, which she did. And then eventually, the story needed to go on. So she was very kind to us, and I'm sure you saw the beautiful letter she wrote to the fans. And in the same kind of way, she called us to her office, one by one, and explained to us what was going to happen. So that was only the only thing we kind of knew some months in advance, because, as you know, we are not kept in her circle of trust. So that's a thing that we know, because she wanted to prepare us for, because it was a very sad moment.
Yeah, as you noted, that the plan seemed to be all along for that to happen. I had noticed earlier on in the series, even I think maybe even in season one, there might have been like some narration about how Michael would love Jane for the rest of his life, and it seemed like
Yeah.
there was a suggestion that this was coming eventually. So was it a huge surprise when you were called into the office and found out, okay, here's when it's going to happen, it's coming up, this is going down, or was it more out of the blue? Did it feel like
No, no, totally. You're right. If people paid attention, and there was a couple, I believe you also, but there was a couple of TV critics and journalists that they were paying attention to those little subtle messages about Michael's death. Yeah, so you're right. You're on that. And I'm sorry. The question again was what?
no? So was it when you were called into the office and found out that it was happening, this season and in this way, were you then more prepared for it, since it had been sort of like,
A
you
little
know
bit.
yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we had the table read of Michael's death, and it was a very sad moment, and we were all crying while we were reading it. And then Jenny, who is like a brilliant writer and a brilliant leader with so much humanity in her, and put together a little video of Michael's best moments after we finished the table read. So that, of course, fed the tears. And but it was a very beautiful and sad moment at the same time, beautiful, because it was a beautiful. We love Brett. We love Brett very much, and we are still in contact, and we message each other constantly, and we're trying to see each other every time we can. He's from Canada, so he lives in Canada, but I mean, he's a lot of the time he's in Canada, so it's kind of difficult. But yeah, we were prepared. It was very sad, and the table read was a little, yeah, devastating.
You and I were both Team Michael in that love triangle with Jane and Raphael, for the last couple of seasons. So now that Michael is gone, are you now Team Raphael, or maybe Team Fabian, or maybe Team Convent? Maybe she should just go to a nunnery and just retire.
Team Comment. No, I think no, Team Fabian, never ever, because obviously he kind of like Rogelio, even though he's not like Fabian, he kind of like sees himself in Fabian when he was younger. So no, that's not a big, as a dad, as Jane's dad, he will never approve of Fabian. But I think the fans and everybody, they're expecting Jane to end up with Rafael. And now, because Rogelio disregarded how beautiful specimen of a man he was until recently, so now he likes him more. First and foremost, because he's very handsome. And then because I think that's eventually it'll land on everybody that he's the father of Matelio and he's a cool guy. So at the end of the day, I think the fans and everybody we will all like to see Jane end up with Raphael. But as you know, with Jenny Erman's storytelling, you never know.
Yeah, definitely. Rogelio has warmed to Raphael this season, and now they're developing sort of a friendship, based on mutual appreciation of their handsomeness. You think that could develop into a bromance on the level of Rogelio and Michael?
Well, yeah, hopefully, because we had a little hint on how Rogelio is still mourning Michael on the last episode or the previous to last episode. Michael was his best friend. So, but time heals everything, and I think that after a season or something, and especially if Jenny goes into the 3 years after or these time lapses, then maybe, of course, Rogelio will definitely give Rafael a chance to be his Rogelio.
As you mentioned, speaking of time, the other major change from the season was that 3-year time jump after Michael's death. Suddenly we have the characters at a different point in their lives. Mateo is a little bit older, and all the characters have kind of grown together or apart, depending on what their circumstances are. Was that a major adjustment? Trying to rediscover these characters after that time jump.
You know what? I think it made perfect sense, because imagine starting the show in Michael's funeral. Oh my God! That's another show. It will turn into a drama in a coin toss. It was. So I think it was a brilliant move to just yes, we will show hints on how it was losing Michael, but let's keep the energy and the soul of the show going. And I think that was a great call from Jenny Erman and the network and our amazing team of writers that decided to go that way. But pretty much, to go back to your question, I think it's easier, the time jump, because when you go through a very, ¿cómo se dice? Through a shocking experience in your life, eventually time heals you, and then you go back into your normal life. So I think, the time jump helped on us being, after mourning and after being sad and after life, then we went back to our old selves. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Definitely, it definitely would be hard to kind of, with the show already mixes kind of drama and comedy a lot of the times, but to have that intense mourning for Michael, given how important he was to the show, that might have taken over the show for the next.
Exactly.
And we've gotten some ideas about, here and there about what has happened during those 3 years, to the characters, how they spent their time, where they ended up after those 3 years. Is there something from that time period for Rogelio that you would still like to explore more of, or a question you'd still like to see the show answer about, those intervening years?
No, I think I'm good. I really wanted to show Rogelio's sadness and mourning of Michael, and I think that was, even though it was very briefly shown in the show, it did Rogelio's justice, just to show him genuinely sad and genuinely, even 3 years after Michael's death, struggling to move on. So I think that was addressed in the last episode or something. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy that we showed, and I think we're showing. We still have to. Did we see Andrea? Xiomara's mourning for Michael? Not yet, right? Or have we?
I don't think we've seen that much of how she processed that experience. Yeah.
I think that's going to come eventually. But it was nice to show a little hints of how the characters are it was nice. It was nice. I would have liked to maybe develop it a little bit more or a little longer. And when I say a little longer, I mean I don't know, maybe a couple of pages more. Not an episode, of course, but I'm happy with how Jenny and our writers show that.
Those 3 years moved Rogelio and Zoe in different directions, but they finally found their way back to each other recently. How was it having them those two apart for most of the season?
It was difficult because I love Andrea. She's a very good friend, and we love each other, and we love our families, and we love working with each other. She's a brilliant actress, and she's such a beautiful human. And so not playing with her on set was I kind of like miss her, and we missed each other a lot to interact with each other on set. But hey, we had Justina Machado is a good friend of mine. Also, we did Broadway together, so I know Justina for many years. So playing with Justina was amazing, and and Judy Reyes, who also was like for a moment a love interest of Rogelio. Judy's, we see each other every single Sunday here in our neighborhood. We have lunch in the same restaurant. So it was very nice to be dealing not with fellow actresses or actors, but with friends. So friends came to play, and that made me missing Xiomara or Andrea's character a little less painful.
After they got back together, there was an especially romantic scene where Zoe proposed to Rogelio with the help of Alba. Was that an especially gratifying scene? Given how much time you had spent apart that season.
It was very gratifying. At the table we were reading it, and when we read that, Andrea and I looked at each other and we went like, "We're back, baby!" And we high-fived like, "Yes!" So it was very gratifying. Now, shooting the scene, it was after a 16-hour day. It was late at night. Shooting the scene was a little challenging, but but it was very gratifying to be back to see Rogelio, back with Zoe.
And now that they're engaged, that means, of course, that we can look forward to a Rogelio wedding. And just knowing Rogelio, is that going to be the most expensive episode of Jane the Virgin ever produced?
I don't know. I don't think so. First of all, who wouldn't want to see a hashtag Rogelio wedding? Right? This is like a gift we give to the audience. So, yeah, they should embrace it. No, I don't know. I know. Now, for the first time that we talk, we have finished shooting the season, so I know exactly what's going to happen, but I don't want to give you any spoilers. And I'm just going to tell you this. As you know, Jane the Virgin surprises you, and it never ends or finishes where you think it might. It always surprises you, and it always has impressive turn of events. So based on what you're saying, I think something's gonna go down at the season finale, and you'll see it's gonna be very cool.
Well, definitely looking forward to that. And another aspect of Rogelio that's always enjoyable on the show is, his career as a telenovela star has given the show a chance to have fun with the shows he's working on. This season, he finished up his Quantum Leap kind of time travel series, and then his reality show, and now Los Viajes de Guillermo, which is sort of based on Gulliver's Travels.
Very lightly, no? Very loosely, like they say in the typons on the screen.
How have you enjoyed, the directions, the strange and funny directions they've taken Rogelio's career this season?
Okay. Imagine this conversation with Jenny Ermer, right? So, Jenny, yes, we're going to miss, Tiago throughout time. What a fun thing. And Jenny goes like, but I have a brilliant idea for your next novella. I'm like, yeah, sure. What is it? You're going to be tiny, and you're going to travel in women's bosoms. And I'm like, come again? What is it? So, if that's how a conversation starts, you know that something very crazy is coming your way.
And the show, in addition to those fanciful moments, there occasionally like fantasy sequences and that sort of thing. And earlier this season, you had an entire musical number with you, Yvonne Cole, Gina Rodriguez singing about how Zoe should open up a dance school. How was it preparing for and shooting that number?
It was fun. I love to be on a musical theater stage. That's that's my passion. So I love that. So whenever they throw little things like that to us, I get very, very happy. It is very happy, and it's fun because it's a different process. Instead of you just going to the set and you have to go to the recording studio with the musical producer and lay down the vocals, and then go to the studio, and then you're like, okay, we have to lay the vocals, but we're not quite sure what the vocals are going to be. So just lay some basics so we have something to shoot and to record on that day. I mean, it's a different process of just arriving to the studio and makeup, hair, scenes, go back home. So it shakens things up a little bit, and it's fun.
And of course, you did Chicago last year on Broadway. Obviously a different experience doing something on stage versus, as you mentioned, doing the recording and shooting it for TV. But like, did that sort of experience kind of prep you for that kind of thing?
I really missed the stage. I really missed the stage. So when the Weisslers were kind enough to call me to do a guest starring, to be the guest star for Billy Flynn, I was very happy, especially being on Broadway means the world to any performer that likes to be on stage. So that was a gift, and so I loved it. And the cast was amazing. Leslie Steinfeld, my musical director, was incredible. David Bushman, my choreographer. I mean, it was a beautiful experience. I was there 2 months, and always doing theater. It really fulfills my heart and my soul, and it just like it feeds my soul. When I'm on a theaters, on a musical theatrical stage, it just fills my soul. And I'm imagine when they invited me to do Sam Carmichael on at the Hollywood Bowl for Mamma Mia, that was like a gift. Like the universe is just grant me a gift.
On the show, a little bit more serious. It has touched on politics in the past with Alba, who was undocumented for a while. And this season, there have been a few references to protests and to ICE raids. And, since the show is centered on the lives of Latino and Latina characters, it's impossible to completely shut out how the current politics of in the United States has affected their lives. What have you thought about how that was been addressed this season, and whether there might be more of that to come this season or in later seasons?
Well, we're not a show that we don't air in Politico, so we air in the CW. So, but yeah, we have. I believe that anyone that has, and this is more like a. I think Jenny Ehrman will. I will venture to speak for herself, but I think she and the network, we have a responsibility of showcasing these things happening in the political world of this great country, very lightly, like you would talk over coffee with friends. Well, not that much, because friendships with this political thing we're living, friendships have been terminated over political conversations. So we have to address it. Lightly, but we cannot be oblivious to that fact. We have to say something. I mean, because like Jane's line, freedom of speech is not being comfortable with only the speech that praises you or talks good about you. Freedom of speech means that you're going to hear things you like, and you're going to hear things you might not like, and that's freedom of speech. Not only the freedom of speech that accommodates you, if that makes any sense. So, and I think either, I don't know, maybe I'm very hopeful, but either if you're a conservative or you're a liberal, or if you're a Democrat or a Republican, I would like to think that that's a universal concept. That's the universal concept of freedom of speech. I mean, I don't know.
This season, couple episodes left to go. You finished shooting. What are you most looking forward to? Coming back for season 4 next year.
Just coming back. I love my family. I love my Jane the Virgin family. To me, it's very difficult to be on hiatus because I miss them very much. And I love how people, oh my God, you're finally on hiatus, and instead of you saying yes, you're like, yes, I wish we go back sooner. But I just love playing with them, and our crew is amazing. Our cast is amazing. Our writers, our producers. It's really, this is a very, from what I've heard in the Hollywood universe, this is a very unique experience we are living, and I love it.
Well, I want to congratulate you again on this season, and looking forward to the rest of the season and of course next season coming up. Thank you so much for talking with me today again.
Always, Daniel, always. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate this time together. It's super fun, and I love talking to you, and thank you very much for always considering me and always inviting me to these fun Google chats. I love them.
It's absolutely my pleasure.
Thank you, man.